It's time for murder.
Wow, 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 wow.
Hey, welcome to Murder Moose, episode 138.
Holy shit.
We're slowly getting close to 150.
We're slowly getting close to 169.
Giggity.
Oh.
Giggity, 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 giggity. We are Murder Moose Podcast, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network.
None of my buttons are
It's
working. I
in
don't
the
know what's
game?
going on.
What the fuck, Josh?
Yeah, exactly, Josh. You could have said it out loud. You had Kin do it. Look what you've done to Kin. You've traumatized her and made her say it's in the
Look what
game.
you've done.
It's
I don't know.
in the
I don't
game.
even know what's happening. I don't know
I'm
what's
so
happening anymore.
sad.
Just wait. All my stuff is just not working.
We're doing great today. In case you guys did not know, first of all, welcome on in. Rod's computer has crashed numerous times. Josh's stuff is broken. I don't know how I'm awake, but we are doing fabulous.
I got
and
it.
Welcome to Murder Moose.
Kin knows. She's
It's in the
a responsible adult at this point.
I got
Hey, I
it.
can be responsible
I got
when
it.
I need to. Oh boy! No.
Oh boy, boys and girls. I just waiting for my computer to blow
The
up
thing
again.
is
but
I
we're
have
here.
my drums behind me, and I always have my Stream Deck over there when I'm playing because I have the Spotify built in and all the other things. So when I'm recording or doing anything on my drums, I bring it over there. But for this, I had to unplug it and then plug it back in, and it went, fuck you, I don't want to work. It's in the
Could have
game.
been because there's an update, but have you thought about just getting like a USB extension?
I do. I plug it into the USB extension over there, but then I also plug it in over here when I'm done. So it goes back
What?
and forth.
You should talk to your You should talk to your magical friend Katie Peters Plays.
I'm not
'cause
going to do this
She
with
has
a cable every time.
She has an Elgato sponsorship, so maybe they could be like, Josh, here is
Yeah.
a second Stream Deck for you.
Yeah.
Oh, she can do that?
Probably not. It's Elgato.
She could probably do that for
They're-
herself, but not just some random person that she talks to every once in a while.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
I do love me some fucking Stream Deck. Like, oh, wait, here. Oh. Hey, Stream Deck. Love you. It's in the game.
Is it? It's in the game. The moose is riding.
Lord.
He's riding across the sunset into the sunset of this
If
tomfoolery.
you are on the YouTube version, you're going to hear all of this. If you're not, you won't hear it.
Insanity.
Hey,
Well,
how's your week going, guys? Is it a long weekend for you guys?
Next weekend.
Next.
Okay, so today was a holiday.
Wait, what holiday was it for you?
May long.
Wait, what's that?
May long weekend. I don't know. That's all it's called in Canada. Okay, happy May long weekend.
We have Memorial Day next weekend, and that means I have a 4-day weekend. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Oh, it's Victoria Day, apparently.
I don't know what that means.
Well, there's a place in Canada called Victoria, so maybe it's that place.
You're the best
Federal
Canadian
Canadian
ever, Josh.
public holiday celebrated on the last Monday preceding May 25th to honor Queen Victoria. Who the fuck is
Oh,
that?
so you're celebrating the imperialists. I mean, you're celebrating British people.
Yeah, we have the Queen on all our money and stuff. Like, we're very British here.
You have a very dead lady there on your.
Apparently,
on your
they
money.
said they're going to put the king on our fucking money now.
That piece
Yeah,
of
that's-
shit.
Scandalous.
That's terrible.
Piece of shit. That scandalous motherfucker.
It's terrible. I don't want this shit.
You're terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Terrible,
this
I'm
is
sorry.
this is just terrible news. I don't know what to say about it. This is terrible news.
This is what you say about it.
Want to know more about May long weekend? Okay.
All it is basically it's a long weekend in May, and they wank off to Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
I mean, did I miss any necessities in that sentence?
No.
Interesting.
So when we said "fuck you," England, Canada was like, "Oh, but that's just not polite," and we would go have maple syrup and ride mooses around and do this, but we will not tell the Queen to go fuck herself like you guys are doing, or king, or whatever the fuck it was in 1776. It was probably a king back then. I think it was a king. But
I've just been playing City Skylines, staying inside because it's hot. And then I put down this school, and it said Moose School. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's like a cheat code school that allows for like all the... I think it's an elementary school. And then it like puts it up to like 11,000 so you don't have to place any more elementary schools. But there was actually moose coming out of the school and walking around. I was like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of moose.
That's cool.
I have to ask Josh, why is all of Alberta on fire? Because they told us that being outside for an hour is like smoking a pack of cigarettes right now.
It was
Colorado.
fucked. It rained today and it got rid of the smoke, but I wanted to go biking this weekend and I didn't because it was so smoky that even going outside was like super uncomfortable. My eyes hurt. I was like coughing. I'm like, fuck this. I go inside and play City Skylines.
I feel like I remember hearing about that, but I don't know why it was burning.
It's just wildfires. It happens every year in BC and Alberta. I don't know why, but it's like, yeah,
because
it's been super smoky.
Canadian potheads go out into the woods and smoke a doobie, and then when they're finished with their doobie, they throw it, and it lights the forest on fire.
Fucking bastards.
What they need to do is before they throw their Canadian doobie on the ground,
doobie.
They put the doobie out in maple syrup.
Oh, it's
because
just
it's Canadian.
Hi.
Yep.
Hi. Hi.
From when my stream freezes. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. Fucking A, Cotton.
Oh,
fucking A.
Wait,
A
I'm
bee,
gonna put
it has more holes.
It does have
what?
more holes. But I like
Fuck
hole
a
variety.
bee, it has more
Oh.
holes instead of fucking A.
Oh.
But
Oh.
I like having two holes to access.
A bee has two holes. An A
that's
has a
what-
hole and an
that's-
opening.
That's why I'm saying that the B is better, and I was going along with it, and I would rather fuck the B.
A.
Fucking B to go along with it.
I don't know.
F is for friends who do stuff together.
L is for I don't know the lyrics to the rest of this.
Wow.
There's something about
You're
you
not
and
even
me.
close.
Something about you and me. Oh, it's you and me. It's because it's fun, right? And
Yeah.
you. Okay. This is how much I watch SpongeBob SquarePants, guys.
You're not missing anything.
I'm way too sober, I guess, most of the time, is what the real problem in this situation is. Because if you're 39, almost 40 like my ass, and you're watching SpongeBob SquarePants, you have to be stoned. Because if you're not, there's something... That's like if as a 40-year-old or near 40-year-old, anytime anyone near my age tells me they watched Adventure Time, I'm like, okay, how high were you? Because no sober adult can watch Adventure Time and like fucking.
Yes, they can. And there's multiple reasons why. One,
Okay.
old Adventure Time was good. Okay, before it got super weird and convoluted. Two, yeah, if you were high, that show would be fucking banging. I wasn't high when I watched it. Three, if you had kids during that time period,
So
you
that's
would watch
isn't
the
it
fuck
still
out
on?
of
exception.
It is, but like old school Adventure Time, like the magic of the crystal apple or whatever. Like some of that shit is so quotable, but like old school Adventure Time is great. New school is weird and trippy, but like
Every time I try to watch
baby that can dance like a man.
the episode of that show that I think of when I think of it, because I tried to watch it because everyone would shut up about it, was when it was a bunch of zombie cupcakes and shit, which is like I think the second episode of the show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that shit was exactly what I'm talking about. You had to be extremely fucking high to watch it. It's just like, did you know? I learned recently that Patrick Starfish has his own fucking like spin-off show, and I'm like, nobody watches SpongeBob SquarePants for Patrick. They watch it for fucking SpongeBob and fucking.
I don't even know if, because I haven't smoked weed in over 2 years, but I don't know, man. Like whenever I smoked, I don't know if it was like different for me, or because I'm so ADHD, it was just a stimulant for me. I never felt like, ooh, you know, when people are like, whoa, it's super psychedelic, or like
The walls
like,
melt for me.
yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I just get super concentrated and can like do a task. And then if I smoke too much, then all of a sudden I just zone the fuck out and don't remember how long I've just been standing there doing nothing.
Yes. I do that, and then like my inner monologue will start fighting with itself, and like I'll have like 6 or 7 rapid fire, very angry conversations going on with myself at once while trying to keep my own mouth shut, and then I'll just zone out.
Yeah.
Or it'll look like Midsummer when she does shrooms. That's
And
why
she's just like-
Midsummer bothered me so much the first time we watched it, because I was like, this is like what it's like when I do weed. Like, what the fuck?
Don't do weed.
I did 3 weeds and I died. I did 3 weeds and then
Oh,
I
no.
died.
I was given a marijuana tablet.
Speaking of which, Josh, I have to ask you, because the first time you watched our movie this week, you were really high and the head scene fucked with you. So we're gonna have to talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
So yes, we are talking about.
I also have to read to you some conversations I sent to some people regarding this movie. Anyway,
Okay.
please continue.
We were talking about 2003's High Tension, which is basically one of the first films in the French extremity movement of like the mid 2000s, and like a lot of stuff like Martyrs and Inside and stuff that like gets quoted from this time frame. This seems like it was one of the first films in it, and so we're gonna talk about that. And I'm gonna read this synopsis right now, and it reads as follows. Best friends Marie and Alexia decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alexia's parents' secluded farmhouse, but on the night of their arrival, the girls' idyllic getaway turns into an endless sight of horror. This movie, I will say, is very, very, very notorious for the ending, and like, which is probably why I stumbled up like on it like years and years ago, because like people were like, oh my god, like I've had a DVD copy of this film for 10 plus years at this point, because this movie was so notorious.
I think I might too, to be honest, because any movie that came out, especially around 2003, and was like extreme horror, I was just like, I didn't look, I didn't know what it was, I knew, and obviously this fucking poster is badass as hell. She looks so fucking cool and badass.
Dude,
Like,
she is hot. Like,
yes.
She pulls off that short hair thing very well.
Yes. And that saw is just such a cool, like, oh fuck yeah.
It makes me think of Army of the Dead, which Snyder did for Netflix, where the guy had one and then never used it in a movie with zombies, where he could have fucked up 1 billion zombies with it. And it was one of those things where it was like, motherfucker, you teasing asshole, you're gonna fucking put the saw in the movie, and he like breaks one fucking lock with it and doesn't actually kill any zombies with it. Fuck you, Snyder. Fuck you. So yeah, but yeah, the poster of this movie is dope, and it is one of these movies that like, it's the reason I continued not to talk about it in chat, because there was already, we were like kind of talking about watching a French horror movie this morning in our chat, and somebody was like, you mean hot tea tension? And it was like, I was like, oh god, so somebody would have ruined it for her, and I'm glad that we didn't talk about it and specify, because this is one of those crazy fucking movies that like has been notorious on the internet for a very long time for the fucked up ending. As Josh called it earlier, the Fight Club ending.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Fight Club is the one that, there's been a bunch of movies that have done the whole switcheroo thing or whatever. Like, but Fight Club is the biggest, for me at least. I think it's the most widely accessible movie that has that type of ending where
Yeah.
you think it's one thing and then they slap you in the face or the dick in the end with the opposite, and you have to go, wait a second. And
it's the unreliable narrator in this film as like any. So this is like the third or fourth time I watched this movie, and as I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, I'm like, oh, okay, your narrator is completely unreliable. So you all at that point you go, anything in this film once the shit hits the fan, like 20 minutes, a half an hour in, anything, as long as the and Kin, this is what I was talking about before, because Kin was talking about this morning. She was like, I watched the scene with the dude in the getting his dick sucked by the head at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's like, it starts off like that, and then you're like, wait a second. But
you're just so as I was watching it again last night, I was like, this is just this character, like the chick, like making up this psychopath in her own head and going, oh, he would be like fucking ahead, like on the side of the road, because she's trying to justify the crazy shit in her brain,
right,
that like is going on the rest of the film, because there's no like she's the only one killing anyone the entire time. She's killing people.
Yeah.
There is no. I mean,
16 minutes in, you already know everything, guys. It's spoiled. It's spoiled.
I don't know. If I listen to a podcast about horror movies, I fully anticipate for the movie to be spoiled.
Especially for a movie that is literally 20 years old at this point, and is like we didn't talk about something. And this movie, I'm sorry, this movie, there are probably 1,000 YouTube videos at least talking about the twist ending of this film, that the main character, because it's one of those divisive, like a lot of people hate this movie because of the twist ending. And I think it's like, I don't know if I love it.
This movie does so much better than other movies is the 2 things that really made, well, 3 things rather, that made me super uncomfortable because they were done so well. It sets up the character in a really disgusting way with the opening scene where he's getting head by head. It's very unsettling, and then the home invasion for no reason in the middle of the night, where the father figure comes to the door and gets beheaded instantly and taken down, and then the family is it was my number one fear. Like, this is my job to like take care of the house, and it's just like boom, cut down. So like it really affected me when I was smoking, because that is like right there. It did it all. I don't like stuff that is like perverted and horrific. It's just it is very unsettling to me. And then the person who's supposed to take care of everyone just gets taken down, and then I don't know. Must have been really high, because it was like almost comedic this second time watching it now, with it how bloody it actually was, like Kill Bill style and stuff.
I laughed so fucking hard, because I literally had this conversation where I said, I think French horror may be up there on my new favorites. I absolutely adore this. That was hilarious. They were like, why is that so funny? What happened? And so I explained it, and they were like, that's fucked up. And I was like, well, but it was the whole scene with the whole and trying to explain to someone
how they cut it. It was so well done, though.
Oh my God. And so I was reading an article about it, and it said that they consulted with like multiple coroners to make sure that scene was accurate in its depiction as far as like how the blood flow would happen. I was laughing so fucking hard. Who kills someone by decapitating them with a fucking dresser through the stairs?
What?
Like, it was so great. And then so with that, because immediately I'm like, oh, I got my head stuck in the banister as a kid. Like, who hasn't? But I mean, I've also never had a full adult size head that was like smashed down. I swear I thought they were gonna do a bite the curb or like a curb stop moment, and I was like, I can't. American History X fucked me up as a young kid with that.
So fucked. Still to this day, that scene, it is just, it's so intense, and the way it's just that high pitched sound too, and you're just like, oh fuck,
dude.
Like,
I've never even seen that movie, and that scene has fucking like disturbed me because I know about that scene. Obviously, I mean I mean that scene is so notorious. There's a fucking wrestling finishing move from Seth Rollins, who's in the new Captain America movie, actually, called the curb stomp because of that shit, right? It's like that's how fucking notorious that fucking scene is. The thing with that, the whole fucking decapitation scene, I don't think that girl weighs enough to fucking remove that dude's head. Like, that's the biggest.
Right,
Yeah.
like how she couldn't move the other dresser, and if that particular dresser was heavy enough to actually do that decapitation, that seems
think
kind of
the momentum and the force that would be required to remove that dude's head and that swift of emotion is like one of the few things in this that's like people complain about weird scenes in this movie. That is the biggest, like, I don't think this girl could have done that. Oh, the other one was the other chick getting carried down to the van. I don't know how she carried her down to the van was the other thing that I questioned once I was rewatching this. But this is one of those movies that once you know what happened and you're sitting there going, could this girl have done this?
It still didn't make me feel good though. Like,
oh no,
it
like doesn't.
That whole opening bit, and then it goes straight to the first person in the closet too. It really paints a picture of like home invasion. Like it's very very well done and disturbing, and it's still it made me feel like ugh.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the movie after that, I was like, man, he's just on like, well, she is on just an adventure, a killing adventure. Like the axe to the guy, it reminded me of like the way the new Scream killers are just, they don't give a fuck anymore. Yeah. Wherever you are, if he's wearing a scream, you're dead. And it reminded me of that kind of like don't give a fuck attitude.
Well, I mean, when you brought up home invasions, I always had a phobia. I still have a phobia of home invasions. So in that conversation where I'm going and like recounting this movie to someone, I was like, this is great. And then I was like, immediately, fuck this. I hate this movie. I will never sleep again. Because she's laying in bed, minding her own goddamn business, and with her little earplugs in, and this motherfucker comes up and puts it right there. And it was like, I was like, I already have to sleep with the door locked. Sometimes shit wedged under it. Like, I don't.
Do you also masturbate with your dreams on, Ken?
I like, again, I saw an article that was like, isn't it interesting how when she came, he came as in entered the house. And I was like, oh.
It's and I understand that it's because once you know, I mean, but you're also there going, well, it's like they're trying, you have to prevent something from being classified as porn, so you can't like have her like her clit hanging out, like they're punching it like a punch, or like one of those clown like punching bags where you like punch it and it falls over and comes back up. You can't ever doing that. But
is that how you handle that? Exactly. Like that is meme quality number one. Go for it. One of those clown punching bags.
I mean, it's the whole like, I don't know, but that scene, watching it makes me laugh every time I see it. I'm like, this girl hair, like they could have had her take off her jeans and then do it, but then like she's running around for the rest of the movie. You're like, oh, okay. They just couldn't have her like with her pants down when the bad guy pops up, because she's the bad guy, but nobody knows that until you get through it all, you know? So it's all that stuff. It's funny, man. Ken, you said she's pretty. She's way hotter than her fucking friend she's obsessed with.
Yeah.
Like, you're sitting there going, why is she so like obsessed with this girl that like she's way hotter than?
She was like a hotter version of the girl from Titan. Titan.
Yeah.
I'll never say it right.
Titan. I don't fucking know how to say
Titanic.
Titanic.
My heart.
Are we back on Titanic?
On.
Is that her with the car?
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't know. There's like certain parts of this movie that I was like, oh, I don't remember. It's doing weird things. I don't know.
It's in the game. It's in the game.
I don't know.
Well, it's like you sitting there, and this movie is. It's a weird thing once you know what's going on, that because you're sitting there going, there are certain points in this film you're like, this
Tyler Durden.
Tyler Durden. I mean, this is Tyler Durden. If Tyler Durden turned into a like a slasher, right? I mean, it's basically what it is, because you're sitting there going, okay, this is I mean,
I love that
Her name
scene
is
with
Alex.
the chains or the what is that even? It's
It's
a
a-
cement cutter, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
in the car, like because in my last short film, which has been like 3 years since I've done one, but we did a car scene where it's the same thing, like, oh, it's your getaway, and then the killer comes and kills the person driving the car. I did that with the head crush in the door, but this is one of the best that setup ever, because it turns into like one of the bloodiest scenes ever, and it's so fucking well done. The way it's all cut and edited together, it is so violent seeming, and it's seamless. Like they cut to like actual like things getting cut up. Like you could, I'm doing the thing where I'm like, so is it just his head behind the chair, and then they put a dummy, and I'm doing this in my head like, oh, how is it put together? Because this is so, there's so many really fucking splashy, real, legit fucking practical shit going on here, and it looks fantastic.
Also,
Again, I should not read articles before the podcast, but there was a really great thing where they were talking about somebody that had rented the camera after they did, that contacted the company that they had rented the camera from, because they were like, occasionally it just drips blood down the lens, or what looks like blood. What happened? And apparently the scene where all the blood flew up on the lens was an accident, and it just looked really cool.
it was, I mean, that scene, they poured, I mean, it's not like fucking brain dead or like dead alive, like no, like levels of blood, but like you're in that
But they
confined
did that
car.
comedically. This is like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of blood, but it rides that line very well, where like the beginning with the head, it crosses the line a bit and becomes comedic, whereas this didn't look comedic. It just looked horrific.
Yeah.
It makes me. This scene made me laugh way more than the beginning scene, though, in the house, because it was the fucking stereotypical horror thing where you're sitting there and this motherfucker is trying to start his car repeatedly, while this fucking crazy bitch with a saw is running at your car. I would have been like, "Fuck this noise! My car's not starting. I'm out of here." And this guy is like, trying to start his car for like how long, until she gets onto the fucking roof. And at this point, he's still trying to start his car and fucking sitting there going, and now she's fucking slamming the saw into the fucking windshield, and he's still trying to fucking. I'm sorry, this dude like wins the Darwin Award for fucking this movie, because this dude is like, of everyone that gets killed in this film, this motherfucker had a chance to save himself and didn't. He was like, not good, man. I'm good, brother.
Could you imagine being put into that situation? Because she didn't just flag him down. She ran his ass off the road, jumped in his car, and killed him, essentially. Like,
Yep.
poor dude, man. Like, I mean, yeah, I feel bad for
Dude,
her,
man.
but like, damn.
Man, dude.
Poor dude,
Also,
man.
Also, the scene from the beginning of the film where they act like it was the other chick doing it, like the weird like Tyler Durden things that we're talking about. Dude, this movie is the definition of unreliable narrator. It was the ending where you figure out it's her. It just reminds me of Bob's Burgers, where it's like Linda's like, "It was me all along," and they're like, "What a twist!" And they're like, "No, it's not a twist. It's a lie. You said it wasn't you." Like when she's doing the dinner theater, that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, damn,
Dude,
this is what this is.
man.
Dude,
Dude,
man.
man.
But it's funny, man. Like, this movie actually isn't all that like it's kind of bookended by violence, right? Like the whole middle part. One, I want to say this movie is fucking a perfect length. It's like 80 something minutes.
Yes.
Perfect length. No fucking bullshit. You could like even the beginning, which is a little slower because they're getting them set up with their fucking the two girls and going through this thing. is
I didn't find
perfectly
it
fine.
too slow. Like it's not
It's
set up
set
for
up.
very. Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
you meet them,
don't-
you get situated in the house, and it just because it starts off with that Jaws exists because they show him getting head with the head, so that the
Yeah.
bad guy is there. So it's looming over everything because someone that fucked up exists without
Yeah.
even seeing his face.
I think that there was a lot of high tension in this movie.
Oh,
Oh,
oh
I
that's the wrong
also,
one,
though,
but I like it. I like it.
I don't know if I like the English title of this film better. The Switchblade Romance. I like
yeah.
I like the name. That name is just like it's chef's kiss. But yeah, this movie's. I mean, I don't know why they decided in England to call it Switchblade, but high tension everywhere else.
But I have a question. Was it a switchblade or was it a straight razor?
Was a straight razor, but like they called it. That was the name they used in England was Switchblade Romance,
Yeah.
which is a better name. Like, but yeah, because he only kills like really the mom with the switchblade, right? But I have to say another thing, Josh, that is completely up your alley, and I forgot to mention this earlier. She fucking takes out a kid like who's running around in a fucking cowboy outfit, and that's one of those reasons you're like, oh, this is French extreme right there, because you don't like
You don't do that.
you don't take out
do
kids in horror films all that often, and it's happening more and more now. But like, you're sitting there going, man. And she just shoots him, and then they show the body when like they're driving off. They're like, "Oh, look it." Another thing I have to, and I just remember this now, and I want to talk about it. Why does the fucking gas station?
Okay,
attendant,
do it.
That whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
No, I meant his car. Why does he have a Confederate flag license plate on his fucking car? And this is
In
like
France?
in 2003. Ken,
Because it's
go.
cool, okay? He
Go,
thought
Ken.
it was cool.
The whole fucking gas station scene after you figure out like the swap. I was like, okay, so first of all, she's like hiding behind things and he's all like looking almost like he's concerned for her well-being, but then also calling him Jimmy or whatever. And then this whole conversation, what the fuck?
So what I think happened, and this is again, she came in and fucking like pictured in her head that like it's unreliable. Anytime, like I said earlier, that her and the killer are in the both scene, you have to take the killer's like take of the event as the reality, because she's disassociating so fucking hard. Anytime violence happens. God damn it, Josh. that you're like, because it's the same thing. It's like when he kills the gas station attendant. It's the same exact way they showed it in the with him, right? They showed it with him coming up and slamming the axe into the guy's. So I just assume.
I
like,
love his fucking reaction though. He's like, oh, no, what? oh, I got an axe in my chest. What the fuck?
It's a very odd thing, especially once he falls over and the guy is like stomping on him.
That was wild.
Yeah. Even without them showing anything, it's wild because you're just like imagining what the axe is doing. It's also, this guy reminds me of the fucking dude from the Harry Potter movies, the guy who plays the fake killer, Mad Eye Moody. Reminds me of Mad Eye Moody.
Oh yeah.
The whole time he's out there.
Oh, right.
He does a really good job of being like fucking menacing and like doing it like
scary as fuck. Like
with limited dialogue, and then when he does, he's just creepy, or he just like
he has that face though too. Like if you don't have like a mask or like something like whatever, you have to have like a really just mean looking face, and this guy checks all the boxes for just I don't know what else he's been in, but
A
this
bunch
is
of
like
horror.
Yeah.
Oh, he's terrifying.
Remember, was that movie we watched way back in the day, Josh? The with the guy from Cabin in the Woods, where the guy was running around with the like the like welding mask, like
Oh, right. What the fuck was that? That was
something
Canadian
violent.
made.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, even though I didn't watch
Jay
it with you
Baruchel did
guys.
that.
Yeah. Where the guy was like a comic book director, like the outfit of this guy reminded me of that film. That's what
Random
I was
Acts of
thinking
Violence.
Yeah, there you go. Random Acts of Violence. It's that mechanic look. Mechanics are fucking like nobody trusts mechanics, right? Like you're sitting there going, these motherfuckers, they're gonna take me over, fuck me. They're gonna fuck me because I don't know what the fuck is wrong with the car. So they're gonna bend me over and fuck me in the ass. Fuck me in the ass, and that's what's gonna happen. And I mean, obviously, they often do.
That's
but
what
like,
that's what Rod says every night. Oh, Tuesday.
Every time he goes,
Every Tuesday.
every time
Every
Rod
Tuesday.
takes his car in for an oil change, he's like, "Yeah, fuck me in the ass."
fuck me in the ass and use all the lube. Ah!
No, I thought you told your doctor you didn't even need lube. You're just like pulling your pants. Whoa,
just
that was
slips-
fast.
It just slips in, man. It's like, and you say all these things, and I got my vasectomy on Thursday, and my balls kind of are a weird feeling today, and I'm just like,
Are you sitting
I'm
on a
so
donut with bag of
happy.
peas?
no, I'm not. Actually, it was. I want to tell you guys, this is like a PSA for Rod, a public service announcement for Rod. If you guys don't want kids, having a vasectomy is pretty easy. The more you know. I was literally in the office for less than 45 minutes between walking in and leaving.
Do
It
they
was pretty
use
easy.
lasers?
Lasers? No, they might have cauterized it. I don't know what they cauterized. I'm not watching. The motherfucker's like, do you want to see your fucking like tubes? I'm like, no, I don't want to see my fucking tubes. Shit that goes inside me, you can keep that inside me. I don't need to see that. I'll see shit that's outside of me. That's fine.
See, I would be like, "Yeah, let me see what's going on down there." Look good. Let's go. But if you let me see them draw blood, I'll pass out. So, but I can do someone else. I can draw somebody else's blood. But I
always laugh because Classy Katie talks about how she like almost passes out with needles, and that woman is covered in tattoos, and I'm like, you're.
But it's
Yeah, but tattoos isn't
different.
neat. It's not. No, it doesn't look like
not
a needle.
Real
Those aren't-
needles.
Yeah, exactly. There's like one that has like 7 needles, and like then there's the liner. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But
We
I just
all
didn't-
have tattoos.
I just didn't want to see the insides of my balls. I was like, you keep this to yourself, and that was enough.
I remember I have this. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, this is a scar right here into my tattoo.
Yeah.
I like had to break into my house one Halloween night, and I like went to get it looked at the next day. And they're like, "Fuck, man! Like you should have." I'm like, "It was nighttime. I wasn't gonna come in or whatever." So they had to like recut it open, and like he put like freezing in it, whatever, and then stitched it up. But he had to like open it and like pry my skin open and stuff. And I was like looking inside, and I could see the bone. I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Dude, I'm the person when I'm getting tattooed, I'm like not watching it at all, or I don't care about you doing the things to me, like drawing my blood or tattooing me, but I don't want to watch it. Like you do, you boo, and you fucking poke needles in me or cut my balls open or whatever you're gonna do. I just don't want to watch it. The weirdest part of that fucking whole thing was like having your like the Novocaine on my balls. Well, I don't know what kind of fucking local anesthetic is they were using, but like you're just like, ow, there's a needle on my balls, which is kind of awkward. But yeah. So I remembered that I got a vasectomy on Thursday, so I just wanted to bring it up on the podcast.
I'm the asshole that falls asleep getting tattooed.
Yeah,
Oh,
same.
I've done that.
Every time.
Right, it's like the only time I've ever had a problem with it was the like lower bit of my calf above my Achilles tendon. That part was kind of rough, but every other time I've just fallen asleep. That one time I fell asleep when Tedro and Mercs were here. They thought I had blacked out, and I was like, "Dude, I'm sleeping. What the fuck? Let me be."
No,
Especially
Only
my
spot-
leg. I slept through the entire thing. I was just like, I was so tired that day though.
The only place that has ever made me go, I regret being tattooed, was getting my sternum tattooed. That shit was fucking like.
Yeah, I didn't
was like-
sleep
I was like,
on my chest. Like these ones
I
were
would
not
love to get
fun.
my sternum done.
Well, it's funny, man. Women can get that under boob area done, and it looks so much cooler than on guys, because of the boob, like
Well,
it's like-
because boobs make everything look better. Come on.
But see, I don't
do.
have boobs, so like it would just look awkward. So
no, it wouldn't. It
I mean,
would still be fun.
I have skin flaps that used
have-
to contain breast material.
You have nipples still. I mean, nipples are there.
If anyone would
And
like
areola.
to pay for a boob job, no, just kidding. But not really.
Ken's gonna
Twitch.tv
be
/
like-
continue. PayPal link is there. No, I'm sorry.
My nipples are so hard. Ah! All I could think of is the old Robin Williams bit about the getting your boob implants and then your nipples being hard all the time.
Oh God.
And he's just like, he just compares it to the you know
That's
when you
not
draw
true.
how many sets of boobies with implants do you hang out with, Josh?
I've been with 3 different girls that had implants. So
God, you love strippers, huh, Josh?
no.
Listen, my best friend here has had her boobs done and then had them redone and then had them fixed, which is odd. And
It was
her
a
nipples
weird
weren't
thing.
hard.
Okay.
Like I've seen her boobies numerous times.
It's a Robin Williams bit. I don't
care. Just kidding. Sorry.
Jeez, Rod. Get with the fucking
It's in the
program.
game. It's in the game.
Is it in the game? Oh, and now you're doing that with talk about the whole it's in the game and over part of the Slash and Cast podcast network. One of the podcasts on our network, funniest story ever. And I don't know if I was talking about this earlier. They interviewed the guy who plays Alan Wake. It's like their whole thing is like they interview voice actors. And the guy basically admitted that when Alan Wake 2 is coming out, and it's been all over the internet, like that because it hadn't been announced for the last couple days, and so like they basically broke the Alan Wake release date because this guy said it on the podcast, and they didn't think it was.
Shit.
So if you see anything about the Alan Wake 2 coming out in October, it's because of the podcast on our network, and it just is like the funniest shit.
That's
that
hilarious.
is cool as hell.
So let me see. I forget the name of the podcast. It is. It's like Madness and what the fuck is it called? It's Monsters, Madness, and Magic, and they interview like voice actors, and yeah, you're sitting there going because
Wait,
by
what's
the time
that? What's that tattoo? Is that a
Which
bee?
tattoo? It is. It's a
Is
bee
it-
on my knee, so it's bee's knees, but it's also below my knee, so it's below knee.
Ken takes her.
It's very
her
muddied.
puns-
I'm disappointed. It's a honeybee and it's holding a thing of honey, but it needs to be fixed. But yes, this is one of my pun tattoos.
I love it.
Ken
Love it!
Love it. I need more tattoos. Real
I do
bad,
too.
man.
Jesus Christ.
It's been like 5
Same.
years for me.
It's been a long time.
Toasty just went and got her fucking finger done for like she got a little star on her finger and like a
I want
heart
to get my
on another one.
hands done.
Dude,
Dude.
I'd love to get my hands done at some point. Fuck.
Hand tattoos are just like the ultimate like it's the only other thing I would do like before getting my if I was in a spot where I could get all these
Just
tattoos.
get your dick
I would-
tattooed.
Like the dragon dick tattoo
Yeah,
guy.
dragging your dick. No, I said clown dick. Come on. You got a
Wait,
clown
but
dick.
if you could do that anyway. You're just dragging your dick across something.
God damn it, Ken.
It's in the
God
game.
damn it's in the
It's in
game.
the game. It's in the game.
God damn it, guys. God damn it. Tension. High tension.
Speaking of dragging your dick,
Dragging your dick across like random people. I have to say that like the other scene that like really does get a bunch of attention with this movie is the car chase scene.
oh god.
And I'm
not
like,
gonna lie, I zoned the fuck out of that.
yeah. Well,
It wasn't
pe-
that good.
no, it's not even because it's good. It's the scene that you go doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
after you
it
go into
doesn't.
the unreliable. And as I said before, any scene with her and the killer at the same. It's that weird oddity, and you like when you're watching this movie the first time, you're sitting there going,
Well, because she's trying to get away. She's fighting with herself, like internal, like so she doesn't want it to take over. And when she comes back, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to save you," in the truck, whatever. And that's when you really, really find out.
Yeah, because the chick has a gag in her mouth for like every other time that they like she tries to save her, and you're like, oh, okay, and it makes so much more sense. But you're sitting there going, the people complain about the car chase scene, and it's just like it's unreliable narrator. That car accident never happened. Obviously, because every single time he chases her, he doesn't catch her, and you go, how does she keep being so lucky? It's because that's her. The bathroom scene in the fucking gas station, the fucking
God.
the house scene at the very beginning, like where he's chasing her, and it's like never ever, and you're like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's because you realize, because there's no way she's gonna catch herself because she's like, oh, okay, I'm chasing it. It's one of those things where the twist, because the twist a lot of people has driven a lot of people off this film, right? And I just go, like, it's just like Fight Club, like Josh said. It's the unreliable narrator, and so you can't believe anything she's telling you, basically.
But Fight Club, it's almost like this movie like decided this was going to be the thing like halfway through the script or halfway through making the movie or something. Whereas Fight Club, it knew the whole time. So it spent enough time making sure that any of those fucking things were
accounted
told
for
and showed like, oh, that scene when we were like that, it was me just actually dropping the beer on the ground. And this scene was like that because he wasn't actually here. And I was actually, like they spend the time to actually like jump back and go, no, we thought this through and this is what actually happened. Whereas this movie doesn't do that. And but I think, this is lower budget. This is what it is what it is, but it's also stood the test of time because it's ultra violent. The things they did well, they did really well. And because they didn't tie up all the loose ends, it's been talked about and it's polarizing like crazy because it's like fucking cilantro of French horror or something. You either love it or you hate it.
I was to say this movie came out in 2003, at very, very early days of like the internet being like a huge thing, right? And it was like if you were on message boards, if you were like places talking about horror,
Napster.
Yeah, this movie was a fucking like thing, man. And it's like I tweeted out about like it being like watching it last night, and I had someone commenting about how this is one of those movies that got him into horror. This is one of those movies that like I think sucks people in, and if you dug this movie like back in that time frame of it coming out, and
sucks you in.
I don't do the choking on a cock noise very well, I guess. I don't know, but like it's one of those films that like I don't know what I was fucking doing. I'm just fucking. This
You're
is what
doing great. You're doing great, sport.
You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it right.
You're doing it. You're doing it great, champ.
So like this ending, I like way more than something like the fucking ending of like Jeepers Creepers. I mean, like outside of that, the guy who made that movie being a piece of shit, the ending of that movie made me mad before I knew that director was a piece of shit. This ending is like, I'm like, that was kind of weird, but it never made me. This movie ending is.
I don't understand why people hate it. It's unexpected, and it doesn't. I don't know. It's
one of those things where it's like it. I think especially the second. This like I said, this is the third or fourth time I've watched this movie. It doesn't like you kind of giggle about things as you're watching it, but it lines up. They lined up things well enough that you're like, you go unreliable narrator. And all you have to do, like I said, is like whenever it's her and the serial killer in the same place at the same time, you just go, well, it was the serial killer, and what she's imagining is her like disassociating. Like I said, there's nothing in this film that doesn't make sense once you put that on top of stuff, and you go, it's just her being fucking crazy and can't like trying to act like she's not a fucking psychopath when she's like one of the craziest motherfuckers. Also, it's one of those things where. This has a female killer, which is not very common in these type of movies. Like and and a fucking brutal one at that. Like we talked about the head thing, and Josh, I had to ask. This was like, what did you think about the head scene now that you were like completely sober when you watched it? Was it like, I mean, it's still a gnarly scene, but like, I had to ask.
Yeah, I already said it.
You kind of laughed about too much blood and whatnot, but
Yeah, but it's still the way it's set up. It still is so unnerving to me because it's set up so well. You think you're safe and you're not, and the guy is just a presence. And without saying a word, it makes it so much worse, I think. And that's what the thing I like about French horror that I've seen, and I've seen like that's probably the 6th or 7th one. Like even things like Titan that are like wild and crazy, like, you know, it's the whole like she's fucking a car. They keep it grounded. Like this film, it's like a person like having these problems. You think of Them. The fucking movie with all the high school kids coming in, another home invasion French movie. Yeah. Revenge is another movie that like, which is, you go like a little unbelievable with her falling off that cliff and not dying, but like it's still like the rest of that movie is pretty grounded in reality, right? It's I feel like that's what French does well. It's like there's like a baseline of like this is living in a universe or a world or a circumstance that is completely unbelievable, but everything else on top of that is very well done and very violent. Like French horror movies get violence, like they understand, and they're all obviously influenced by one another. These are the films they're watching, so they're like, the bar is fucking set, so we either have to fucking do it that good or we got to do it better. And like I feel like there's so much noise and so much going on all over the world, especially in North America, that you're either not looking at enough to have your bar be good enough in the indie world, or you're watching too much and it's all over the place. Whereas French, I feel like, is this like bubble where it's all very well done. It's very extreme, but it's I'm glad we're going down this. What else is on this list for us?
I like this list, by the way.
Martyrs is the big one on that list, which we can do at some point. Inside's on there. Them is another one that I liked a lot. Those are kind of the ones that I think of when I think of that extremity movement. Like Inside is one of the ones that's the one that's on my personal I have not seen list, and it's like one of those, you know. I kind of, it sounds like with you guys with like what Martyrs is, where it has that fucking build up of what is happening. Inside has that kind of in my head because of, I don't know if you guys know, it's about a home invasion, another home invasion French movie, but like it's a pregnant woman on like Christmas time, like Christmas Eve or something, and someone breaks into her house.
They're layering all the things you don't like on purpose. Yeah.
Well, they break in and it's a woman stealing her baby, trying to steal her baby.
I've seen that. That's really good. We should do that.
It's on my list. I want to see it. So it's
look at her face.
she got all I know is about that film too is I know there's a pair of scissors and a pregnant stomach, and so Ken's very excited over that. I think we know what we're doing next week. They just like. Them is like we talk about everything else with like the extremity of like the mid 2000s kind of, and this is the beginning of that kind of time period. It's like that completely grounded but like terrifying thing, and like home invasion is I think a big fear for most people, right? Because you're like, oh, what is the thing that is like, we all go home at night and we're like, we expect to be safe in our own, homes, right? And that's like why was it The Strangers is such a fucking creepy fucking movie
again, with the like not saying anything and just standing there, and it's just it's when you let things tension build and there's like something that the character doesn't and you see it and it drags out as long as fucking possible, you're doing something right, because those movies They sit with you and they just make you feel fucking gross.
I think of things like Insidious, right? Where like Insidious had that scene where the famous scene in that movie is like the
behind the shoulder.
But right before that, they have the fucking little kid sitting there at the coat rack or whatever. That is like that you just like don't never. That's why that fucking scene.
James Wan is fucking.
Yeah.
He understands the mind of the audience. He sits. This is what sets him apart, though. Like he understood it way before he did Insidious with but he the things he did with that movie, like they didn't. I don't know. He sets up these massive franchises, but he does it all so fucking well with the first one that you see the similarities in the other ones, just copying. Yeah. It's like, oh, we did it like this. Now let's just turn it to the right and do it the same. And it's like, but you did, like we saw that already.
Yeah. Well, he also does it where he's like, I don't even need to be fucking R-rated. I can fucking scare people on.
I love that.
Insidious. Yeah, because I mean, it's one of those things where you scare someone. That's why things like Sixth Sense and shit like that, or like that, fucking nails that PG-13 horror shit. It's just like it's even more
R-rated,
impressive. Though? No, Sixth Sense was PG-13.
I don't think so.
It's another. No, is it PG-13? My friend, Sixth Sense is PG-13. PG-13. So,
My dude guy.
That was PG-13.
Dude, man,
My dude
man,
guy.
dude.
My man, dude guy.
Dude, man.
But
Dude, man.
I'm glad we
Man,
talked about
dude.
this, and Ken, I'm glad that you like got into it without like being spoiled at all, because that's one of those things where it's even if you don't completely dig it, like, or if you're like not knowing it's coming, you're just like, what the fuck, and you'll see it in lists, and like I think they do a really good job of fucking with you at the beginning, where they show her crossing the road instead of the other chick, and then like
It honestly sounded like you said. I think they do a really good job of throat fucking you in the beginning, and then I was like, oh, that's
you hit
not
those-
what you said.
I mean, I could have said that, but I mean, it's just like, you gotta hit those tonsils, man. If you're not hitting the tonsils and making someone like gag, what are you even doing? Are you even throat fucking correctly? Are you even throat fucking correctly, Ken? No. They just... Josh is letting the camera throat fuck him, apparently, as we're back to this point.
Oh God.
I just think this is like even taking the fucking like twist out at the ending. This movie does like that. Like High Tension's a really good name for it, because you're on
Just
the edge of your
take
seat.
the Fight Club out of High Tension.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Well,
Dick. Wait, sorry.
As soon as the home invasion stuff starts, this movie is just like, you are fucking creeped out and like on the edge of your seat until the very end. And like, I do like how they take the scene where like they let her like murder kill the dude and then unveil that like it's her imagination. And like
I gotta
he
say,
comes
the
back.
screaming and the sound effects in this movie are so well done that, there's not a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of screaming and unsettling just sounds in this, and it's all done really well to set the tone. And the score is fucking cool too. Like there's like a few songs that are,
It's like
I'm
Muse.
yeah,
They
I'm
have,
like jamming,
Muse
and
is all
it ends
over.
with Muse, but like there's a couple songs in the middle
Was it
that I was like
actually
jamming.
Muse?
Yeah, it was actually Muse. This is like
yeah.
early
Okay.
Muse too. This is like when Muse was kind of starting. Like Muse, I feel like always had a bigger like presence in Europe because of that like kind of like they have that like alt rock, but with like that EDM kind of thing to go into it too. And it's like they were probably pretty big in France already at this point. So, but yeah, I think this movie's cool, man. Like, and it's like if you into that violence and that extreme of this period of French stuff, it does that really good job of like just for a movie that's like it's like 80 something minutes. It doesn't fuck around. It gets you to the edge and it keeps you guessing and going. And then they throw the notorious like it was her all along, thing at the end. But like, I just think this is a cool like early 2000s horror film for like just what was going to come out of France and like Europe in general coming out of those this time frame. And it's like countries that I've really like kind of like dug into and like really appreciated doing the show, and even before doing the show, it's like South Korea, France, and Japan are the three that are like just like I want to point to when I want to tell people, oh, you need to try horror from other countries, right? And France is just that thing where it's like, man, if you can dig the more hardcore stuff, this movie is right up your alley. And
that's
it's
why
like,
I think I'm liking them so much, because I literally was like, okay, this is only like my second French horror movie, but I am so into it.
Yeah.
Like, as fucked up as they've been, I'm really into them.
Well, I mean, you talked about if you've already seen Inside. Inside is one of those like tied in like classics to this time frame. And I remember my buddy in college like, oh my god, you gotta see this movie. And it's like that was kind of time frame when it was like people were like, that would be like word of mouth horror, right? Like it would be like, oh my god, you have to see this shit, and
you have to put it in your mouth horror.
And yeah, I mean, it's just obviously this is one of those movies that's just like, I still dig it, man. I think that any horror film I could watch for like 3 or 4 times, like, and still dig it and just like enjoy the ride, even though I know the ending's happening and all that stuff. It's executed well. Like Josh, you talked about earlier, it's not like super high budget, but like,
no,
they don't need to be, right?
I don't know. Do they?
It depends on what they're trying to get at, right?
Yeah, but I think they did a really good job.
Get at me. High tension.
Dude guy.
Man,
guy.
dude.
Man, dude guy, bro.
Well, I mean, this director is, I didn't even realize it because I wasn't even thinking about it. It was the guy who went on to do the Piranha 3D and he did the Hills Have Eyes remake in 2006.
Oh.
And Mirrors, the one with Kiefer Sutherland. So this guy, okay, he did a film called Furia in 2000 or 1999. He did High Tension in 2003. And this is his, like, listen to this. I mean, he goes on to Hills Have Eyes, which was like one of those films that like picked up after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. He did Mirrors with Kiefer Sutherland. He did Piranha 3D, which was great. He did Horns with Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe Horns is really good.
I've never seen it.
Even though the book is different.
It was good. It was fun.
He did The Ninth Life of Louis Drax, which I've never heard of it. Did Crawl, which was fucking dope if you've never seen it with the alligator. And something called Oxygen, which I haven't seen either. But like, he has a pretty fucking like prolific directing career, like outside of this film, like just in American movies. Like, I've never seen Mirrors, the one with Kiefer, but like, all these movies are pretty well respected in the horror community, it seems like. So, like, the guy's been doing good shit for a long time now. It's like, 20 years since this film. So, it's his name is what is it? Alexandre Aja.
Aja.
Yeah. So, yeah.
He's very hands-on with directing as well.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this before we get out of here?
I think we should look into more French horror.
We're going to do Inside next week. So we're going to do Inside. Yeah. And then we'll end it all with Martyrs. Martyrs has to be the last one we're going to do with the French because it's the most notorious of these movies. But yeah. So next week we'll do Inside, which I think is
notorious.
What are you doing Notorious from? God damn it. Putting Inside in on IMDb is...
shit.
What? 2007.
Next week, we may have to swap to, like, Tuesday.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah, it comes from 2007 is Inside. So we're going to do that in another French movie. So let us say...
Notorious.
Watch Inside. And I'm excited to watch it because I've still never seen it and been on another list. Everybody, go to murdermoose.com. Go to Murder Moose Podcast on Twitter or Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. We have continue.com for continue and quainttaint.com, onlynouns.com. Wow.
All of them.
Yes.
All the websites are mine.
Yes, go to all those. Go stdmotel.com, stdhotel.com, and quainttaint and...
We recently purchased Google. I'm just kidding.
JoshWRB.com as he ventures off into his like dick swinging ventures that he's on. So go follow Josh and hire him. And I'm Rod_Johnson on Twitter and Twitch, as I also do the Twitch things. So we will see you guys next week to do Inside. So we love you and thank you for listening, and catch you guys later. Bye.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.